Okay, hello everyone. So my name is Amra, and this is my sister I brought today, Kaylee.
Hi.
We just got back from one of my favorite charities actually called Feed My Starving Children, and we just packed meals for, I think it was 80 some kids for a year, so that was pretty cool.
Yeah, it was so much fun.
Yeah, but we got the chance to have some conversation over coffee with her cousin afterward, and we just got talking about some things, and this is one of the topics we were kind of hitting, and it's kind of about personality traits and the link between our personalities and the fact that there are weaknesses and strengths, and they correlate, but we'll get more into that. So it's just kind of cool. We were thinking about people are so different, and sometimes those differences become so frustrating to us, at least to me. Like, I have to take a step back and really think, what is he doing and why? Or he or she, obviously, but I'm thinking about a person right now. Why is he thinking this way or doing this thing? And it's not for the same reasons that I wouldn't do that. It doesn't mean he doesn't like me or he doesn't this or that. It means something else to him. So,
And just because someone does something differently than, say, the way I would do it, it doesn't mean that they're wrong or I'm wrong, or maybe someone doesn't like me because of a certain personality trait that I have, and it may just be that the way they would handle a situation doesn't really jive with the way I would. So, like, today when we were packing meals, like, I get really, just passionate and kind of competitive when I'm doing something, and I'm so focused, so two people in our group were talking and getting distracted. That was kind of irritating me, but I've learned, as a nurse, not to show my emotions or irritations, which sometimes is a good thing, but that's kind of what spurred this conversation was how the way we work so differently than other people can be frustrating, but that helps us kind of look deeper into why do we work the way we do, and why is it okay that other people are different.
yeah, and it's not just nurture, it's nature too. So, interestingly, like, as you probably can tell, we're sisters, and we were raised very similarly by the same parents and by the same rules and everything. And yet, well, I know this is common amongst siblings, we have our moments where we don't understand each other and we don't feel loved by the other person. And so it's just kind of, okay, why are you feeling that way? It's not because I'm intending for that to happen, it's just partly interpretation, or we always seem to think that other people are acting the way that we would, and that their actions mean the same thing that our actions would mean. But that's not true. So let's talk about some of our differences, because this will lead on to some of the thoughts we were writing down. We were talking a ton today about how I am very much a planner. I don't dream about things and wonder how they will happen. I just make it happen. I take the steps, I write it down. I'm not super like goal oriented, like I need the goal to achieve it, but I'm definitely more realistic minded, and I can tend to be a pessimist towards dreams sometimes. Whereas on your end,
Yeah, we're a lot different that way. So I am very forward focused, and I have all these ideas, and I generally can't pick just one idea, so it's hard for me to actually make a plan and act on it. I kind of run off of passion and inspiration and like the highs and lows of life. So if I get excited about something, I'll run with it for a while, and then I might just drop it because I lost interest or I lost that dedication. So my weakness lies in the inability to actually like analyze what I want to do and how to make it happen. If it's easy for me to be excited about something and to make something happen, usually without thinking too much about it. So I kind of skip over that planning step or the analytical step.
yeah, and so obviously we can find frustrations in each other because of that. Like, oh, Kaylee, why can't you just stick to one thing? Or why can't you pay attention for more than 2 seconds? Or why can't you, like, commit to something or just have a few passions and really do them? Where on your end, I'm sure you have frustrations with my personality sometimes.
Well, that is so true, because I feel like you can notice when my mind starts to drift and I'm looking away and you're like, Kaylee, are you still listening to me? And I'm like really not trying to, but that's something I've been working on too, is like focusing on what someone else is saying and not letting my thoughts just go astray, because whenever someone says something, I immediately think of, oh, how can I generate an idea for this person or help them or like inspire them, and then I start, going off on my own little rabbit hole. So
yeah. So that just kind of leads into how realizing each other's strengths in moments of frustration will help us to really appreciate that person. Because think about when you're falling in love with someone or something, you're attracted to certain things, but you don't realize later that those things have another side to them that's not necessarily bad, but it's different and you don't understand it. And so it's just nice to be able to see past that in moments of frustration. Like, okay, Kaylee's not paying attention to me right now, but what does that mean? That means she's trying to reach out and encourage, and she's so engaged in her surroundings, and she can be so passionate, and there are things in her that I wish I had. So it's just good. And then for partnerships.
Yeah, in marriages too, like, or relationships, any relationship, like, I was just kind of analyzing what my strengths are based on my personality trait to kind of take something and run with it. And then I kind of wrote down like the downsides of that. So the things that I am not as strong in include like being committed and disciplined and keeping up with one thing without getting bored or not following through or not being content. So it's funny because when I look at those things, I think of my husband, and he's the most loyal, most content person. He can do like the same job and imagine himself doing the same job for the rest of his life, and he's very committed. And so it's interesting that I was drawn to someone like that, and how sometimes it's frustrating now, but then I realized like we probably balance each other out pretty well.
Yeah, it's nice how, why do opposites attract? Because you're interested in that thing, and part of you needs and wants that other side, the yin and yang that balance each other. But it's harder later on, once you get to know someone, to accept those things and appreciate them the same way that you used to. But yeah, so those are some things we were thinking about. Man, so one thing that Kaylee did that she kind of demonstrated was writing down her strengths and their associated weaknesses, which it's not about, it's finding balance between accepting who you are and how you were made versus growth, because we still want to grow, and just because you're weak in one way now doesn't mean it has to stay that way forever. But having a partner with opposite interests, it's a challenge, but it brings balance. So if you're putting yourself in a position of challenge, you're going to grow faster from it. If you're with someone who's more like to you, you might have less challenges, but you might not be stretched or grow in those areas. So it can be a blessing in disguise, just like all trials are. But it's a really good way to kind of figure things out. Just write down, if you're maybe a little bit insecure or something, write down things that you think are your weaknesses first. Write down the ones that you don't like, and then think hard and realize what those strengths are, because it's good for learning to love yourself and be confident, and then in turn being able to apply that to relationships and understanding and appreciating other people so much better. Did you have anything else to add to this?
Oh yeah, well, I was just thinking about my job and how easy it is for me to jump from one thing to the next. So ever since I was born, I've just moved along each thing. So from high school into college, and shortly after I graduated from nursing school, I pursued my bachelor's degree. And then as soon as that was done, I was kind of like, oh, I gotta find something else. Like, but what I didn't realize was I hadn't actually developed the strength or the ability to just develop myself and my relationships and to blossom where I am, So just really learning to be committed and to really honing in on what's most important in my life right now, instead of just looking forward and being discontent where I'm at. So right now I'm at a place where I've been out of school for, I think it's been 4 months. And the longest I've ever been out of school ever is 8 months. So I felt like it was on my heart to just take a year off of any kind of change. And that's hard because I've been in my nursing job for 1.5 years, and I'm already getting that feeling like I'm getting antsy and I want to change and I want to try something else, but I really haven't taken enough time to really grow myself and to really become confident in who I am right now and be content in where I'm at. So it's just kind of trying to find a balance between my constant passion for helping the world and finding something more in life with trying to just find the beauty in the present and just being content with the day-to-day, you know, just grounding myself and finding joy in my job and my coworkers and all that. So yeah, it's just trying to find, you know, like at first I thought there was something wrong with me, like why do I do so well on the highs of life and I end up in this low spot all the time? And I realized it's just a weakness of part of who I am, you know, and it takes practice, and it's just not as natural for me to to thrive in the constant day-to-day life.
Yeah, and interestingly, I'm not afraid of monotony. I really like the comfort of schedules, and opposite, I was done with school very early. I knew exactly what I wanted to do, and I've been working in the same field, and I have 2 jobs right now, and that one job that I had right when I turned 16, I still have. So like I'm comfortable with that, and I like to find that groove where you really become good at every day. But then again, I can have trouble with spontaneity or a wrench getting thrown in my plans or a change, which I think I've gotten better about. But it's cool to see though, because those differences are good. They're good for us. And even though we still can learn and grow, it's good to appreciate yourself and others for those things.
Yeah, so I guess the main takeaways would be like if someone sees something in you that kind of puts them on edge, or they notice something, don't take it personally, and don't look at that as the problem, or there's something wrong with me and how I was made. Like that is something that you should look at and be like, okay, so they're kind of interpreting me this way, and it may be in a negative way, but then you can kind of look back at the source of, okay, so maybe they work in a completely different way. Maybe they are just totally misinterpreted what I was trying to say or share how I was feeling. So just, I guess, learning to just embrace like the special parts of your personality that are so different in yourself and in other people. So, and that I think overall can just help you work better with people, because you don't see it as that person is wrong or the way they're handling this is wrong. Instead, it's just we're all so different. So
yeah, well, I hope you all have enjoyed this conversation as much as we have. I want to remind you to check out Feed My Starving Children, because it's an amazing charity, nonprofit organization that packages food and sends it and to people all over the world who are in need. So
yes, and the shirt is probably backwards for what you see, but it says "Be the change," basically in the world that you be the change in the world that you want to see. So, just say what you want to say and be yourself. And if you have a goal and a passion, just get it out there. Don't be afraid. Like that is what ends up changing other people and changing the world, just one person at a time. So
yeah. Thanks so much for coming onto my channel, and I'm sure there will be more videos with her. Let me know if you want to see more.
yeah, thanks for listening.
Have a great day.